Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. In today's video, we are gonna be talking about a very unusual Echeveria. I'm sure till now you might have seen how Echeveria tends to look like. You're very familiar with Echeveria, but today I'm going to share a very unusual kind of Echeveria. Now, everywhere this is mentioned as Echeveria Atomy. I'm not very sure if it's an Echeveria variety because I've never seen something like this. When you take a closer look, or when you tend to see it on the seller's website, you can easily pass this off as a sempervivum variety. The entire growth structure, the leaves, everything looks a lot like sempervivum, but this is not a variety of sempervivum. It is everywhere mentioned as Echeveria Atomy. Now remember, in my last video, one of my subscriber, thank you so much for helping me out, as I was not aware about what Aloe meant, and I realized that Aloe is the name of the founder. And thank you so much for clarifying that I could get sound sleep. Now again, I am not going to have sleep tonight because the name of this succulent says Echeveria V as in alphabet, Atomy. So I'm not very sure what that V stands for. Is it again, I'm not very sure. So if anyone knows about this, so I searched on Google. I tried to get as much information I could. What does that V stand for? Is it just an alphabet, or is it some kind of a hybrid or something that indicates why that alphabet V is there before this succulent? I'm not very sure. But nevertheless, we'll talk about this succulent. Now, I know the first video itself was difficult. Even this succulent, I'm putting it in difficult. You guys must be wondering why so many difficult succulents. Now the reason is because I don't want you guys to buy this succulent and kill it. The reason is the first difficult, or the first hurdle for you is going to be when this succulent is getting shipped. A lot of time this succulent does not survive in shipment. This is my third attempt. The first two times the succulent died in postage. As soon as I took the succulent out from the transit box, it was almost rotted. There was a lot of mold on it and it was already starting to rot. So the first hurdle itself is getting the succulent intact. If you get the succulent in your nursery, if you're doing a hand pick, I think that's going to work out really excellent. But a lot of times it does not survive in transit, especially if your transit has been stuck for over 10 to 12 days, let's say even 15 days, it's not going to survive the transit initial hurdle itself. Secondly, the succulent tends to die very easily with overwatering, so you have to be extremely careful. You can see now this succulent has recently come in, so it is slightly dehydrated. The leaves are all closed inwards. I have done one watering ever since it's come, but I'm just going to wait because unfortunately my city all of a sudden started to have summer rains, so I have to be extremely careful. I do not want to overwater it. There's going to be a lot of humidity right now in my city, so I do not want to overwater it and kill it. There is a lot of moisture in the air, so I have just done one watering. So far the succulent is still dehydrated, but I'm not going to water it a lot. I'm just going to wait for another couple of days. The soil is almost dry, but it still has a slight moisture. It cannot be underwatered for a really long time. That's why I'm using a plastic container, because all of my concrete pots, they tend to pull out all the moisture from the pots. So this one is slightly dehydrated. They prefer a very slight moisture, not a lot, because the leaves are very small. They cannot store a lot of water. Talking about the succulent size, I would say that these reach up to 3 centimeter. That's all the mature plant is going to reach, up to 3 centimeter. The smallest one over here, as you can see, would be around 1 to 2 centimeters, but the largest one, this is the largest one. Right now when it is closed, it's around 1 to 2 centimeters, but when it turns into a mature plant, it's not going to exceed more than 3 to 4 centimeters. It's a very small, fairly small succulent, and the best part about this succulent is it tends to put out so many offsets. These are all of the offsets that are coming up. This is a bloom. Yes, this is a bloom, and these are a lot of offsets. Probably in another 6 months time, this pot is going to be completely covered with offsets. It tends to put out a lot of offsets, so I'm pretty excited. It's an extremely beautiful succulent. It looks a lot like sempervivum, but it's not a variety of sempervivum. I've tried to research as much as I could On Google, everywhere it says that it's an Echeveria Atomy, Echeveria v.atomy. So it's a new variant of Echeveria, very unusual, nothing like what we have like a regular succulents. It's a very unusual Echeveria. We all know how our Echeverias tend to look. This looks absolutely different, but it's absolutely beautiful. It is slightly green in color, but it turns burgundy red in color, dark burgundy red. Absolutely beautiful. I will put a picture if I can find how it tends to look like. The soil has to be loose, porous and well draining. Ensure that you water only when the soil is completely dry. Do not wait for a very long time. As I said, do not keep it underwatered for a very long time. It will start to dry. As you can see over here, this is how it tends to look like when it gets dried. Now this happened in the transit box. Luckily this time the postage happened to come within 2 to 3 days, so it did survive. Last time it took around 8 days and then it did not survive in the transit box, but this time I was lucky. So I have to take extreme good care of the succulent. As I said, the soil has to be loose, porous and well draining. Now they prefer a good amount of sunlight for 4 to 5 hours morning direct sunlight. Only then the colors will be visible. But you have to let it acclimate before you put it out in morning direct sunlight. It will also do quite well in indirect bright light, but the colors, that dark burgundy red color, will not be very visible if you're going to keep it in indirect bright light. So whichever works out really well, because I can't assume that everyone's going to have morning direct sunlight. So whatever form of light you receive, just give it. But the afternoon direct sunlight, please don't place it in afternoon direct sunlight. If you only receive afternoon direct sunlight, then you'll have to use a shade cloth or a green net. Never expose your succulents to afternoon direct sunlight, especially in the summer season, because the sun is very, very harsh. It will burn the succulent leaves. So be very careful. Watering, again, as I said, wait for the soil to be dry. Pest attack is not much of an issue, but yes, if you have a lot of organic matter in the soil, then there is a high chance that the succulent might catch some kind of mold or fungus. So ensure that the soil is not very, very nutrient. Just keep a very minimum amount of nutrition in the soil. Even if you do not add any nutrition or if you do not add any fertilizers, is absolutely fine. Now, because it says that it belongs to the genus of Echeveria, it is going to get into its growing period very soon during the summers. Winter is its dormant period, so during winters do not add any kind of fertilizers to your Echeverias. So as of now, it's a pretty good succulent. It's just been few days that it's come in. I will do an update video probably in another 2 or 3 months. Whenever the succulent starts to revive back and starts getting more of the pups, I will definitely make a video. I'm very confident about this succulent right now, because all the 2 or 3 times that I purchased it earlier, it did not survive the transit, but this time it's doing quite well, showing some signs of growth. I think it's been I'm not very sure when did this come in my mail. I'm not very sure, but so far it's looking absolutely fine. I have watered it just once. I'm just hoping that it starts opening up very soon, because right now there is a lot of moisture in the air. So hopefully things should turn out really well. Right now I'm doing a slow introduction to morning direct sunlight, so it's being tossed between indirect bright light to morning direct sunlight. But eventually, after a week or so, once it gets completely acclimated, I'm going to put it out in morning direct sunlight. But I'm not going to expose it to afternoon direct sunlight. So most probably I'll only expose it to morning direct sunlight until 10:30 a.m. and nothing post that, because the summers are already here and it's getting pretty warm. So this is all about this particular succulent. It's absolutely beautiful. If you are a beginner, just wait. Do not get this right away. It is little tricky to handle. Usually you might get it broken in mail, in postage, because the stem of the succulent is very, very thin, very delicate. This one was almost separated from the actual clump, so it tends to break. Even this small little tiny guy over here, you can see, was also separated from the clump, so it tends to break very easily in post. Especially if you have a rough handling of postage, then definitely you're gonna have like probably 50 pieces of this from one clump, because it's very delicate. It tends to break easily. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep propagating.